Hey, what's up? Brian McCarthy. Doing a little review play test of a recent purchase of mine, which is the Heritage Neck from the Boston Sax Shop. I tried this back a while ago, and man, it was eyebrow raising right from the start. Like first note that I played, I wasn't expecting to ever make such a big equipment change from the originals. I have my original balanced action, late model balanced action neck. That I didn't do this. This is not me. I did not deplate the neck to bare brass. Somebody before I got a hold of it did this to it. But I always think that I liked this horn more than others because of the neck. The neck can have such a huge impact on your sound. Yeah. Anyway, so we're talking about the Boston Sax Shop Heritage Neck, and obviously I got the silver plating to match my silver plating on the horn itself, which matches really well, and over time it's actually going to match up better. I believe Jack has done some things. I call it just he's worked some magic to make this particular neck. I think he calls it a limited edition. Don't I feel fancy? So it's gonna end up tarnishing on purpose. End up tarnishing to match the silver plating on the horn a little bit more, or if I end up polishing my horn with either the regular silver polishing cloth, or even have the silver goop that I take all my key work off probably maybe once a year, once every 8 months, and use the goop all over the horn, and it silver protects it, brings it back to just such almost like an original sort of shine. And I would do that with the neck as well, so it would match. So I'm using a custom Selmer, vintage Selmer Soloist short shank. It's a D original that's been opened up to a 105 tip opening by another wizard, Brian Powell, who does such wonderful work and did just phenomenal work on this mouthpiece. But that's for another time with a standard Ishimori bare brass ligature. So like I said, back to the neck, and my initial impressions of it were just kind of my eyebrows literally raised up, because like I said, I hadn't expected to ever buy anything unoriginal and replace something, a really important part of your horn that can move your sound, the needle, in a lot of different directions. So I was surprised that I kind of like, after one note, I was like, oh no, I have to dive into my bank account and find some money for this, because it's impressive. It's that impressive. So yeah, the things that I noticed. Let's go through, like, why I decided to make the purchase of this, rather than just kind of stick with my neck, which I don't have any problems with that. I'm not getting rid of the original neck. I'm going to keep that. But the more I play the Heritage Neck, the more it opens up my sound, and which is a good thing, I suppose. I guess if you wanted to close your sound, it would be a bad thing. So I wouldn't do that if you're looking to close your sound. Don't buy this neck. Maybe stop playing the saxophone too. Anyway, yeah, so reasons why I bought this. Its design, it makes sense because the design of it is very similar to the balanced action and super balanced action horns. The necks, I think that's what Jack says that he's done, is kind of based it off of that, but obviously made his improvements with it. Whatever they are, you'd have to ask him exactly what magic he put into it. I literally wouldn't be surprised if he was like some sort of Harry Potter wand thing that he did to it, and like, boom, now it makes you sound better. That's my theory on it. So we'll see if that actually is probably not entirely true. But what it does, I can tell you what it does for my sound, for me playing it, for my sound. It didn't really, I don't think it changed my sound significantly in one direction or the other. Like, it still very much sounds like me, which is why I liked it. But then at the same time, it was easier to put more air into it. And actually, it wanted to have more air. That's one of the things I'm still learning with it. It's day 3, day 2.5 with the neck. I'm learning that it wants to have more air. needs to have more air. And I always have a lot of air to put into the horns, but that's maybe the one thing that I noticed with the original neck is that when I try to put in more air, sometimes I have to bleed it off on the sides just because I can't get it all into the instrument. This neck, that little bit that I'm bleeding off, I don't have to bleed that off anymore. I get to put it into the horn, which more air equals more sound. Not necessarily louder sound, but more volume. Not volume in decibels, but volume in the size of the sound. So that allowed me to do that so much more. So and from that, it felt more free blowing as well. So I mean, these are two things already. Three things. Didn't change my sound. Was more free blowing. I could put more air into it. And then the evenness of the sound through the whole range, from top to bottom, the sound was just so effortless and consistent and even through the entire range. And four. There's four. Let's go five. The ease of response, the quickness of the response, just that much faster with it. And then I just have to learn to give that extra little bit of air into it, and that response comes back. But it's an easier response with it. So like five. There's probably a couple other things I'm forgetting, or will discover the more I'm with it. But that's enough right there? Oh, and the last thing, I guess it's somewhere located in here. I don't know what this is. It's not jazz hands. That's not a thing. But it's something. Somewhere located in there is the overall size of the sound. And that being larger, being me, being easier, being larger, why wouldn't I kind of put aside that purist saxophonist thing? We're like, I'm not going to play anything modern on my vintage horn because you kids quit skateboarding on my lawn. Yeah, that. So, I wanted to pick it up and see where things are going to go sound-wise for it. And, I'll play a lot of gigs that require, let's say, I'm fighting amplified instruments, so funk gigs, and you got loud bass players. No offense, Aaron. You've got guitar players who are amplified, Hammond B3 organs with Leslie's, which sound awesome, but are amplified. So you're competing with these things. Drums really kicking hard, which is all great. These are all great things. Having that little bit of extra ease of sound and volume, in this case decibel volume, along with the size of the sound volume, it's a win-win. So that alone, there we go. 5 or 6. I lost count like 10 minutes ago. Look how beautiful this is. It's gorgeous in its design. It doesn't need anything fancy. It just looks good. And if not for that alone, you could probably purchase it, I suppose. So, you've heard the sound samples of the two comparison of the two necks. I tried to, as best I could, to keep the same effort level in the A/B comparison, showing you like the amount of effort I put into this. All of a sudden, the sound is bigger, and then I can kind of increase and do other things that I talked about to get the results that I'm honing into and learning. But it's a great purchase. It's a great concept. It's put together with quality control that the Boston Sax Shop is. Are they legendary for it at this point? Are they becoming legendary? Is Jack and his business becoming legendary for quality control? I think so. Smart design by a saxophonist who really knows how to play the instrument and also has that Tony Stark brain about him, knowing how to make things that just make us better. So just somebody make sure that Jack doesn't snap himself out of existence. Spoiler alert. Can't really do spoiler alert after, but if you haven't seen it at this point, that's on you. So anyway, see, even like right there, I'm approaching it like it's the other neck, where I'm not putting, I'm backing off on the air initially, and then I kind of discover, oh right, I can put more air into this, and when I do, the sound starts to go. Now, one thing you can't fix is just sloppy technique with my fingers. Jack, work on that. Something that makes me not terrible would be helpful. Jack, fix somehow. What in here? Something in here. Yeah. And it just kind of, every time I play it, I just, I'm still, as the minutes tick on, I start to hone into it more and more and more, and it's just that reminder of more air. Put more air into this, and that's what starts to happen with it. More than two, so I guess I can only give it 2 thumbs up, but I want to give it more thumbs than just 2. So 2 thumbs, and then some indexes, and some middle, and some ring fingers, and even these evil guys right here. And on that, why don't we end the video